The Colorado State cross country program kicked their season into gear 2 weekends ago with the women's team capturing the Wyoming Invite crown. Sarah Carter, a 7th-year senior for the Rams, led the squad, finishing in first place, but is a leader for this team in more ways than just on the course. Hi everyone, welcome inside the Mountain West Network studio. I'm Bridget Howard. Without further ado, let's bring in Rams cross country and track and field runner, Sarah Carter. Sarah, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for making the time for us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here, help kick off the cross-country season for the Mountain West.
Sarah, you've kicked this season off pretty well, coming off of your successful 23 indoor and outdoor track seasons. You just finished in first place at the Wyoming Invite a few weekends ago with a time of 17:40. What was the main focus heading into that race that you, as a veteran leader of this team, wanted to see from your teammates and yourself?
Well, for me, it was very much just training through and setting a good foundation for the start of the season. For many of the women here on our team this year, this was either their first race as a CSU Ram or their first race in uniform. So it was a big buster for everybody, and I think that the women really started off the season strong. I'm happy with my personal performance. I think it did what needed to be done for the team, and started off the season in a really fun way.
Well, you had no off season this summer, but it wasn't because of workouts that Coach Hart was giving you. Knowing the workhorse that you are, it was no surprise when I read an article about you doing trail and mountain racing over the last 3 months. What intrigued you about this type of racing and led you to getting involved?
I love trail and mountain racing. I have been trail running my entire life, basically. I grew up in Arizona, so there's plenty of trail out there, and something that was very easy to bring with me into Colorado, as there's plenty out here, and it is some of the most beautiful places I've ever been. So I was very excited this summer to get to have the opportunity to actually travel internationally for some mountain racing. I was working with the trail team, which is based out of Boulder, and through that, they helped me get set up with some of the World Cup series. So I ended up getting to fly to Europe for about 2.5 weeks, where I did 3 separate mountain races, as well as a 4th mountain race in Utah earlier in the summer.
Yeah, in total, these races accumulated to 16,000 feet in elevation. One of these races in Europe had a stretch named the Death Zone. Can you give us some insight as to what these races entailed compared to what people expect from cross-country races that they may see?
I don't think they could be more different. People ask me, oh, is this like cross-country? No, it's nothing like cross-country. A lot of times you are hiking. In some cases, like the Death Zone, you are literally crawling. But it's also a very refreshing feeling because it doesn't have the same kind of pace-related pressures as cross-country does. And it was just something I've been really excited to do for a long time. And Coach Hart really helped me to integrate all of the crazy mountain stuff into training that will be conducive for a strong cross-country season, and I'm really grateful for her support and for her flexibility with me kind of getting to chase my mountain dreams a little bit and then come right back to the NCAA.
Yeah, I'm curious, what are the similarities, if any, between the two that are helping you or that did help you get ready for this cross-country season?
The grit, absolutely. I think something that you need for any kind of long-distance racing, and in mountain racing especially, is that grit factor, because there's going to be times when you are pushing yourself to your absolute physical limits. I mean, you're kind of in what many would call the pain cave, and you have to make the very deliberate choice to keep going deeper into that pain cave. You can't let your foot off the gas, whether the gas is climbing straight up a mountain or sprinting into the finish of a cross-country race. And I think that mental component is something that you really get a lot of out of trail and mountain racing, because a lot of times there are no spectators, there are no coaches, there might not be any athletes around you. It might just be you and the trail. That mental fortitude that keeps you going when you're in a place that is extremely uncomfortable. Not something, I'll be bringing with me this fall.
Well, your teammates and coaches credit you for being serious when you need to be, but lighthearted on the easy days, and are great at balancing both. What's the key to that, to being able to flip that switch, but also know when to just listen to your body?
I mean, I think that's exactly it, is listening to your body. And you also have to find the fun in it because, yeah, NCAA athletics, especially at the Division I level, it's a very competitive thing. It's a very intense thing. And a lot of times as individuals, we're very type A, we're very dedicated, and we all want to be the best that we can. And sometimes the absolute best thing we can do is worry about it a little bit less. And it took me a very long time to take that to heart. And once I did, I realized, oh, wow, I'm actually performing so much better and I'm actually having so much more fun because I'm not basing everything on the run that day or the workout.
You opened up on social media a couple months ago about your journey with cross country and track. From being cut from the Washington team in 2019 to finding a home in Fort Collins, you've been through a lot. In your post, you mentioned relearning how to love the sport that has defined most of your life has been a journey, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. So for athletes who've resonated with what you've gone through in your journey, what would you share with them?
I would just absolutely urge them to know that your sport is not all that you are. I spent a lot of time in my high school and in my early college career feeling like every bit of my self-worth and self-esteem and what I was to other people and what I was to myself were based on my running performance. So if I wasn't hitting the marks I wanted to in practice, or if I just simply didn't PR, I felt like I was failing at something, and I made that something out to be my entire life when it not only didn't need to be, but it shouldn't have been. And it was when I kind of stepped away from forming my entire identity around running that not only did I start to enjoy it so much more, I actually got a lot better at it too. Sometimes you can care so much that you tear yourself apart a little bit. And that's what I was doing to myself. And it took a very long time. It wasn't just one day I decided that running wasn't my whole being anymore. It wasn't like that. It was very much a long process, and it's still something that I struggle with. But I urge you to find your sense of self and your sense of value completely independently of what you do on the course or the track or the court or wherever you compete, because you're more than that.
You've become such a valued leader on this Colorado State team, now entering your 7th season of collegiate athletics, and have competed with and against some of the best athletes in the world. This is a group that's been picked as the preseason favorite to win the Mountain West title in October. What has impressed you with the mix of veterans and newcomers that are meshing together right now?
I think the absolute best thing that we have right now is a team that meshes. I'm so proud of the way the freshmen have really taken initiative to involve themselves in the team, whether or not they're going to be racing in uniform this fall. I think that they're building a foundation for what's going to be a really long legacy at CSU. We also have a great group of transfers that joined the team this fall, and I couldn't be more happy to have them. I think that they're really going to round out our travel squad quite well, as we have lost a few veterans from last year. I couldn't be happier about the group that we have, not to mention the folks that are veterans and have been around for a while. I'm thrilled to have another year with everybody, and to be around these people that I truly can count as my best friends. To get to train and race with them is the coolest feeling in the world.
Well, Sarah, it's been so much fun getting to watch your career blossom at Colorado State, and I so appreciate you making the time for us today to share your advice for student athletes, to share your insight, and of course to talk a little bit about the Rams team this year. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
That's Sarah Carter from the Colorado State Rams cross country and track and field teams. The Rams will compete again on Friday, September 22nd at the Roy Gierak Invitational in Minnesota. From the Mountain West Network studio, I'm Bridget Howard.